Hey, how you doing? Welcome back to Vinny the Axe. Today I want to give you an update of the Seymour Duncan 78 humbucker pickup. So a couple weeks ago, I put a Seymour Duncan 78 in my Fender Custom Shop 69 Stratocaster. Now this originally came with a JB pickup in it, and I didn't like how the volumes didn't jive, and also how much power was in the JB in comparison to the Fender Custom Shop hand-wound Fat 60s that are already in here. So what I did was I wired this in. So now a couple of things on that video. One, I noticed that the wiring diagram was backwards on the humbucker, not the normal wiring code that was originally installed in the JB. I even thought to myself, hey, I wonder if that's backwards because it would be out of phase. In other words, the Fender Custom Shop pickups are out of phase in the standard wiring. I thought about it for a split second, but I was so busy with the video and doing a bunch of stuff that when I rewired the pickup back in, when I wired in the Seymour Duncan 78 and I did the test on the bench, I had so much distortion on my little bench amp that I didn't pick up the fact that when I put it in position 2 between the bridge and the middle position, that it was actually out of phase. If you go back and listen to that video, you can slightly hear it. I was in such a rush, and I shouldn't have been, that I wound up bringing it back into the room and noticed that it was out of phase. And I'm like, yep, I knew it. I should have stuck to my instincts. I knew that that wiring was backwards by Fender because it had to be in phase with each other. So what I did was I had to pull the pickguard out, do a quick switcheroo on the wiring. Not a big deal. I just happened to be following Seymour Duncan's wiring schematic and wired it the way it's supposed to be when it's with their own single coils because they're all in phase with each other. So anyway, all it was a quick change and it fixed the problem. The guitar now sounds absolutely stellar. The power of the 78 is at 9K and it really jives a whole hell of a lot better than the JB did with the single coils. This pickup is very sensitive to pick attack, so I'm still working on getting the volumes dialed in correctly, but it is really close and it sounds great. And also, the EQing of the JB pickup, the way that's EQ'd or how it sounds in comparison to the single coils was like night and day when you switch from one to the other. Was very, very drastic of an EQing flavor. So now this is a lot closer, so when you switch from the neck to the bridge, it's not so much of a drastic sound difference. So I'm really impressed with this pickup. I think, I don't know, Fender Custom Shop, take a look at what you're doing. not that I'm anybody, but I want to say that a lower gain pickup would jive a whole hell of a lot better with the single coils that you guys are putting in your guitars than the JB. The JB is just absolutely out of control power-wise in comparison. Now, if you know that's what you're going for, that's cool. You know, to have this hot rodded thing, but it almost makes this useless in the neck pickup when you're switching because you really can't get the volumes to match. Matter of fact, if I even dial down that JB as low as I can get it, I start to lose the dynamics out of the pickup. It sounds anemic, and it's no good to anybody at that point. So anyway, my opinion, I think that this 78 is spot on. It's the first time I've used one of these pickups. I'm going to go on a limb here and say it's probably my most favorite Seymour Duncan now. I like the 59, but I like the Jazz, but this is great. Now, I was going to try a Pearly Gates, but I didn't know if that was going to be too weak or it wasn't exactly what I was looking for. I think it has a very high mid hump in it, so I was on the fence about that, but the 78 was where it's at. Now, in my original video, I said I was scouring the internet to hear some samples of it clean, not because I play clean per se, but I just wanted to hear the note separation in the pickup to see if it was like overly hot or compressed, but it is not. It really isn't. So word of caution, if you're into like hair metal and stuff like that, you might have to add a little stomp box in front of your amp, like a tube screamer or some kind of overdrive to get to that level of drive that you are normally comfortable with if you're using a high gain pickup. So if you go from that to this, you're going to have to make some adjustments. This pickup really drives really well with the custom shop Fat 60s. I'm sure it'll jive with the Fat 50s. And usually the Fender single coil pickups, even though one might be hotter than the other slightly, they're all kind of, to me, almost in the same flavor, maybe. So I think if you match this up with any Fender single coil, I would imagine it'll do justice for you. So yeah, quite pleased with how this really turned out. I'm actually stoked about it now, and I'm going to keep the guitar. I was actually going to sell it instead of wrenching on it, but I'm really happy with how this turned out, and it's definitely a keeper. This guitar stays in tune amazing as well, even with the 6-screw tremolo. It just is, it's really nice. So anyway, totally happy the way this all turned out. I have a couple other projects on the horizon, so if you would, please like and subscribe so you get notification when the next videos come out. And again, I really appreciate you visiting the channel. Thanks so much. Take it easy.